think the dual diagnosis would be most appropriate for him, Judge.
All right. And if you'll talk to them to make sure there's a smooth transition.
Can I drop your name?
Sure. That is fine.
It always works wonders, Judge.
Drop it, but don't let it touch the ground.
Trust me.
Okay. All right.
Secretary.
You understand you're charged with arson of a building. And that is a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine.
It's for probation, not for in prison, 10-year cap.
You ever tell your mechanic how to fix your brakes?
So quit trying to tell me how to do my job.
Court is calling 2023 CR 5795, State of Texas versus Paul Alexander Cantu. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state? Defense?
Ted Wood, I represent Mr. Cantu.
Are you Paul Cantu? Counsel, have you received all the discovery? Did you review it with your client?
I have, Judge, yes.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Mr. Cantu, I'm showing you what's entitled application for deferred adjudication. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you sign it?
Yes.
Showing you the true bill of indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
I do, Judge.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
We are, Your Honor.
Mr. Cantu, I'm showing you what's entitled court admonishments and defendant's waivers and affidavit of admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places? Did you understand you're charged with arson?
Iron hoe.
Of a building. And that is a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison. And up to a $10,000 fine. If you have a plea with the state, court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state was calling the right to remain silent?
No.
Did you understand by entering this plea, you were giving up those rights? Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Not until I got the plea.
Well, we're talking about now.
Yes.
So did you intend to give up those rights and
Yes.
enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 20 years in the prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, but I thought the cap was 10.
No. If I were to grant your application for deferred adjudication,
Which is probation.
which is a form of probation, if you were to mess up on it and your probation were revoked, this cap of 10 would not apply. I would be able to sentence you, if I so choose, to 20 years. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Judge, he has, and I would like to speak to the issues that y'all just discussed when I get a chance.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
Yes, Judge, again, I would like to speak to those when I have a chance.
All right. Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the offense?
Yes, Judge, and I had him examined in
Right.
Judge Carruthers' court.
All right. And I'm assuming he was competent?
Yes, Judge, but again, I'll speak to that in just a minute.
All right. Mr. Cantu, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea bargain, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 10 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. The state is silent on your application for deferred adjudication or community supervision. There's to be restitution, if any, to KFM Partners LTD. Did you understand that to be the plea?
I thought it was plea just for probation, not for in prison, 10-year cap.
No. What this plea means is that the state is not going to tell the court that they want you to have probation. They're not going to tell the court they don't want you to have probation. They're not going to make any comments on your application. The only thing they will be allowed to speak to is if there's some sort of fact issue.
Okay.
But I will make the decision on whether or not you have probation or not, and your attorney will be able at the time of sentencing present witnesses or whatever evidence he would like to be presented to the court for me to make an informed decision on whether or not to grant your application. Do you understand?
Yes,
All right. So did you understand that to be the plea?
yes.
State, is that the
Now
plea?
I understand.
It is, Your Honor.
Defense.
Yes, Judge.
Showing you the waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, are there any such motions?
No, Judge.
Then to the offenses charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Yes.
State, any evidence?
No objections, Judge.
Showing you what's entitled waiver and consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same.
Judge, I told Mr. Cantu he was only giving up those rights for this proceeding only. This
Yes,
was not a permanent waiver. This was only for this proceeding.
yes. All right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding of guilt as you apply for deferred adjudication. Probation on this case, we need a MIC evaluation, gang evaluation, and TAP evaluation.
And Judge, I can't remember for sure. You may know better than I. Can he be considered for felony drug court as well? He had a little bit of a meth problem.
All right, we can do a referral to felony drug court
I
as well.
think the dual diagnosis would be most appropriate for him, Judge.
All right, and if you'll talk to them to make sure there's a smooth transition.
Can I drop your name?
Sure. That is fine.
It always works wonders, Judge.
Drop it, but don't let it touch the ground.
Trust me.
Okay. All right.
Sanitary.
All right. Ms. Ferguson, when do we come back on this case? Yes.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll come back on March 21st. And if you're able to speak to felony drug court before then, counsel, and they decide to accept him, that will help us with the TAP evaluation and the MIC evaluation.
I'll do it, Judge.
All right, is there anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else? Yes.
No.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Jason.
May I be excused, Judge?
Yes.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.
You ever tell your mechanic how to fix your brakes?
So quit trying to tell me how to do my job.
When she gets pissed, she's quick to castrate.